Now for global business updates, Rotus Oddiri joins us. Good morning, Rotus.
Good morning, Dr. Bati. Dr. Bati, the bow ties between yesterday and today, I'm feeling them. I'm feeling the YouTube comments, they're going crazy.
Rotus,
good morning to you.
Rotus.
Good morning to
Good
morning to Rufai.
It's because we don't have a wife, so we can't wear bow tie. Maybe when we have a wife, we'll be able to wear bow tie. Every day you wear bow tie, Dr. Bati, you remind me that you bloody stupid unmarried Rufai, get out of here.
It's an indictment.
Okay, Rotus.
Rufai, we got to get on it too. We got to. Although, can you marry in this economy? That's a question.
No, okay. I can't try it.
Yes, let's get to what we have today.
No, President Tinubu is family friendly. His wife is also family friendly. He encourages all of you chronic bachelors of Nigeria to at least do something.
Rotus, remind Dr. Abati that Huggies is leaving Nigeria. Yeah. Oh.
Don't worry. When we were children, our mothers
used... I check Pampers prices every day. It's just going up.
No, you can use cloth, cotton, to be exact.
Organza.
Okay, what do you have for us?
All right. It's still the elections. And Dr. Abati, hopefully, I'll shorten the time getting you to your comments. India's stocks reversed all the gains that they made yesterday. I mean, we saw the Nifty, the Sensex, biggest intraday drop, I think, since in about a year or so. So basically, the results are now coming in, and it is showing that the Modi party may not have the margin of victory that the exit polls were suggesting yesterday. So we saw big drops on the exchange over in India. And again, just to remind people, that table that we put up showing the scenarios, the markets were suggesting that there would be like a 350 to 400 seat margin for the BJP party. But it's not. It's looking like the other parties, in fact, by the way, the other parties, they coalesce and they say we're going to not fight each other. We will target the BJP. And so far, with the results that are trickling in, we'll get the final results in a few hours. It's looking like the margin might be tighter than expected. Here's a quote from Amat Kumar Gupta. He's the chief investment officer at Fintrek Capital that covers India. He says the market is priced for 400 seats for the BJP-led alliance, and it seems that is definitely not coming now. Investors are a little nervous, and that will stay for the next couple of hours till the leads are firmly established. So, I mean, the BJP will still get the lead, but it looks like the margin is going to be tighter. So that table showing the range, we'll see what happens with that. I think there's one more quote from Dong Chen, who is the chief Asia strategist at Bank Pichet. He says, I still think the policy direction of Modi will likely stay, which should support India's economy in the longer term. The valuations are expensive. He's talking about the stock market valuations because we're really climbing over in India. But we will be watching for any correction closely as it may create some entry opportunities. So that means basically, bargain hunting. When stocks have a big drop, you have an opportunity to get in and buy some. So remember, the Indian stock market has been one of the darlings of global markets. We go to South Africa. Another development there, as far as what the investors are expecting, they're expecting a market-friendly South Africa in terms of the coalition. So it is looking like with the demand from MK, that's Zuma's party, that Ramaphosa be dropped, ANC said, no, that's not happening. Even though our margin of victory dropped, we're still the lead party here, and we're still in charge. So what the investors over in South Africa are expecting, by the way, if you look at the Rand appreciated yesterday, one of the biggest one-day gains for the Rand since December the 14th of last year. South African dollar bonds and also the FTSE JSE, that's the Johannesburg Stock Exchange Index, climbed yesterday, appreciated. Markets are expecting, based on the language from the ANC, that there will be more of a coalition with the Democratic Alliance, which is the most market-friendly party of all the contestants there. So here's a quote from, I think this is Yvette Barb. She is a portfolio manager at William Blair Investment Management. So she said a formal alliance with the DA, that's the Democratic Alliance, that's with the ANC, would be most supportive and perhaps give rise to a rally in asset prices, as you've already seen. So that's what markets are expecting. However, we believe there may be an enduring rise in the South Africa risk premium, given the increase in implementation risk. And so what she's saying is your EFF, the MK, whatever alliance comes forward, if we see that alliance more with the DA and the ANC, you're likely going to get some pushback from the other parties. So the implementation risk comes from the ability to be able to put forward any policies between ANC and DA. So again, as we've talked about, it's 14 days to go. I think it's not until June the 17th until Parliament sits. So talks are ongoing. To Nigeria, there's been such a big debate with the NUC, TLC, the labor unions. Did they act too harshly? The cover of today's This Day newspaper, Nigeria's newspaper of record, Labour grounds Nigeria, plunges the country into total blackout. Some folks are saying, I've been seeing so many comments on social media, why are you punishing Nigerians? Why? Look, I think I heard Rufai yesterday saying JAM students shouldn't be suffering. I think I found the perfect quote for this. I don't know if you remember the 1995 movie Seven with Morgan Freeman, Brad Pitt. Here's a quote from John Doe, who people say is playing the role of Labour.
Wanting people to listen, you can't just tap them on the shoulder anymore. You have to hit them with a sledgehammer. And then you'll notice you've got their strict attention.
So I think that the federal government has Labour's strict attention. And then finally, news that broke in the afternoon yesterday, the Central Bank of Nigeria has revoked the license of Heritage Bank. They put out a notice to that effect. They say that the metrics of the bank, negative shareholder equity, losses upon losses, pose a risk to financial stability. So the NDIC has been brought in to handle the liquidation. Customers, do not worry. With respect to the thresholds for deposits, you should get your deposits back. It's a process that is ongoing for now. That's our news for today.
So a couple of things. Number one, Rotus, I want to talk about the emotional blackmail the government is now using. People were hurt in the hospitals, flights were disrupted. Yes, I feel bad for that. Exams could not be written. In fact, I advocated that they should allow them to write exams. But let me also remind the APC that when they shut down Jonathan's government for 2 weeks over subsidy protests, didn't they know people's lives were destroyed or hampered? That's one for them. Let them remember that. And for those people that do those blackmail, let them remember. Because a lot of the people now in government were those, you remember how Mr. Fayemi, former governor, also said, they knew the arguments then, but they did because of political reasons. So they should remember that. Secondly, Rotus, was this the best decision by the CBN as regards Heritage Bank? Couldn't they have gotten one of the bigger banks to mop them up? Because when you are sending people to NDIC now, NDIC have a deposit threshold of $5 million and 5 million naira. And they are saying that those that their money has beyond 5 million naira, they wait till they liquidate the asset of the bank. And say, so what if that bank is very distressed? There are no assets there to liquidate. So if they get anything paltry out of it, they will pay people less than, and that's going to cause a banking crisis. I'm just thinking out loud. Was that the best decision possible? And thirdly, the illusion of Modi's growth in India. The problem has always been trickle-down economics. So all of that 8.2% shining growth is trickled down. Just like the problems we had too during the PDP administration, that we're having a lot of growth, but it wasn't trickling down enough. That's the challenge Modi is facing. I know you want to reply as regards the bank, Heritage Bank something.
Well, the counting in India started this morning at 8 a.m.
Okay.
The voting started April 19 in 7 phases. It took 6 weeks. About 1 billion people, close to 1 billion people, voting in that election. But the exit polls tell us that Narendra Modi is likely to have an overwhelming majority with the BJP-led National Democratic Alliance and secure as much as about 352 seats in the lower parliament. In India, you need 272 seats majority to form a government. But Narendra Modi and the BJP are going to exceed that. You made the point that the markets have responded positively to the extent that the Nifty 50 and the Sensex, rose, remarkably, as of yesterday when the exit polls were announced. Modi's big achievement is the solid growth that has been recorded economically under his watch. Now, the projection was that India was going to do 7.6% by fiscal year 2024. But by March, which was the end of the fiscal year, India recorded 8.2. And there are also indications that India could well surpass China, and other countries in the days to come. However, talking about Asia, the bigger story beyond the election is the fact that manufacturing activity in Asia expanded within the first quarter of this year and by the end of May. Now, pointing to the fact that many of those economies are going to do well with economic recovery post-COVID. China, the Philippines, Indonesia, South Korea, all of them are doing relatively well. That's what the survey that was published yesterday indicated. And talking about layoffs in Nigeria, Kimberly-Clark had to call the staff together last Friday, and they told them that they are laying off about 90% of the staff, about 150, because it's a heavily automated business. So that's by way of update. And NVIDIA, the company that has been doing very well with artificial intelligence, has now announced that it's going to introduce Rubin by early 2026, which will be a follow-up to Blackwell, which was introduced in March. And this is to further, deepen efficiency at the level of data centers. So there's great competition there, with all the companies involved in artificial intelligence are pushing against NVIDIA, which seems to be doing well. When they released their first quarter earnings for 2024, NVIDIA was up there. The stocks went up, but there's competition there. So artificial intelligence looks like the future, both in terms of innovation and also in terms of business.
Well, one of the things, Rotus, I thought you'd talk about this morning, which I saw on the front page of the This Day newspaper you had quoted, was the resumption in office of Dame Dr. Adora Omeoji as the first female MD of Zenith Bank PLC. Comes with 30 years of banking experience, 26 out of that spent at Zenith Bank, taking over from a very successful tenure by Dr. Ebenezer Onyeago himself. So high hopes for her and wishing her all the best in her new role. And she's proven herself over the years, just recently been DMD at Zenith Bank itself. So congratulations to her and more power to the women. Don't come for me for that one. But just very quickly, I was going to also talk about the ANC-DA coalition, which is looking very unlikely because of their policy direction. I don't know how, I can't see them marrying their ideology together or their policy directions together, because it is very doubtful that the DA would agree to the national health insurance and also the black empowerment, black liberation, which is very big for a number of the majority black living in South Africa. So whilst it would make economic business sense, we just don't see how it's going to work out. What is looking more likely would be an ANC-MK coalition or an ANC-MK-EFF coalition, which some South Africans have said is taking it back to the 1994 party, ANC party. But let's see how that works out. It looks good in terms of the ANC-DA, but very unlikely. Thank you very much for your time with us this morning.